We're going to begin this hour with a stunning political blowout in Texas. Overnight, State Attorney General Ken Paxton defeated incumbent Senator John Cornyn for the Republican Senate nomination. The landslide victory really cementing President Trump's hold on the GOP base. His endorsement boosted Paxton and ended Cornyn's four-term Senate career. Cornyn is the second incumbent GOP senator to lose to a Trump-backed candidate in the last 2 weeks.
President Trump is the leader of our party, and his endorsement in this is the most powerful force in politics. And I'm honored to have his support.
I've said throughout this race that I trust the voters of Texas, and they've made their decision, and I must respect it.
The primary paves the way for what is shaping up to be a bitter battle between Paxton and the Democratic nominee, James Tallarico, in the midterm elections this fall. Paxton, a conservative firebrand, has fought numerous legal and ethical challenges in recent years. That includes a Republican-led impeachment on corruption charges that ended in his acquittal. The two candidates are already trading jabs as they prepare to go face-to-face in November.
The most corrupt politician in America just became the Republican nominee for the United States Senate.
My opponent is the most extreme radical the Democrats have ever nominated.
Now, early polling indicates Democrats do have a chance to win a statewide Texas seat for the first time in decades. NBC News chief data analyst Steve Kornacki joins us now to break down the numbers. Steve, good morning.
Okay, yeah, in the end, not even close. You could see where things stand as we make the call here. Ken Paxton defeating John Cornyn here. Cornyn, a four-term incumbent senator, but he did not have Donald Trump's endorsement in this race. It was Paxton who did. And what a difference, apparently, that endorsement made. Think about this. These two candidates had faced off back in March in the preliminary round here. Cornyn actually got the most votes back in March. He outpolled Paxton. Now, neither one of them had gotten a majority back then. That's why they had this runoff. But look at this, the total reversal here. Not only does Paxton leapfrog Cornyn into first place, he leaves him in the dust. And you just take a look at this map here of Texas. It's thorough. You see that Cornyn shade of red in a few places. He's winning in those places narrowly. Otherwise, it's just a sea of Paxton red here. Paxton landslides in the Panhandle, in South Texas, in East Texas, all the way out in El Paso, in West Texas, along the Rio Grande River there. Just a trouncing here. Look, Cornyn had tried to make this race to Republicans about electability. He said that Paxton had too much baggage, that nominating him would put this seat at risk in November against Democrat James Tallarico. If Republican voters thought this election was about electability, the answer they gave was they believed that Paxton can beat Tallarico, can keep this seat Republican, and can prevent Democrats from getting their first statewide victory in Texas in 32 years. That will be the test now. Paxton will move on to face Tallarico in November. There will be national attention, certainly even more now, on this race in Texas. And think about this in terms of the temperature in the Republican Party. Cornyn loses tonight in a landslide, didn't have Trump's endorsement. 10 days ago in Louisiana, Senator Bill Cassidy didn't have Trump's endorsement. He lost in a landslide. Two elected incumbent senators losing in 10 days, both of them opposed by Donald Trump. Before that, it had been 14 years since an incumbent senator had lost a primary.
All right, Steve, thank you.
Well, let's stay with politics. A redistricting battle continues to play out across the country as states work to reshape congressional maps ahead of the midterms. In South Carolina, a new map pushed by the president failed to move forward. And in Alabama, a federal court blocked a new map from going into effect.
At the center of all this, the Supreme Court's decision last month, to strike down Louisiana's congressional map over what the justices called an unconstitutional racial gerrymander. That decision is heavily influencing these redistricting fights led by both parties ahead of the November elections.
NBC News political reporter Megan Leibowitz joins us with more on all this. Megan, good morning. So let's start in South Carolina. Bring us up to speed on why that congressional map did not move forward.
Hey guys, good morning. Yeah, this was a surprise move and a setback for President Trump's redistricting push. So the South Carolina State Senate had decided not to move forward with this new congressional map, and it comes really just days after the State House had decided to advance this map. Now, in explaining their rationale for why they decided not to move forward with this, some Republican state senators had argued that it was too late to move forward with this because early voting had already started, so they didn't want to then go ahead and redraw district maps while that was already underway. Some had also argued that this process had been rushed. Now, if that map had gone forward, then it would have eliminated the state's only majority black district, which is represented by Congressman James Clyburn. Now, Clyburn had responded to this move in a social media post, saying that, in his words, a critical number of Republicans did not believe in putting a man over the law. Today, members of the South Carolina State Senate stood up for the constitutional principles that they say they believe in. So, remember, this comes as after President Trump had been pushing Republican-led states to enact new congressional district maps in order to put Republicans at a bit more of an advantage when it comes to the midterm election this fall. And the House is expected to be very closely contested, guys.
So, Megan, as we mentioned, a federal court blocked a Republican-drawn map from going into effect in Alabama. What was the reasoning there, and where does that go from here?
Yeah, so this was a panel of 3 judges on that federal court who had rejected that Republican-drawn congressional district map from going into effect. And I want to read you a little bit of what they had to say in their decision about why they wouldn't let this go forward. They said that the map, quote, intentionally discriminated based on race in violation of the Constitution. Now, as you can see on your screen, the Alabama Attorney General had responded to this, saying that he was disappointed but not at all surprised that the judge panel had struck down this map, which he had called blandly unobjectionable. He had also said that he was going to ultimately appeal this to the Supreme Court to ultimately try to get that map ultimately passed. Now, as you had mentioned earlier, this comes after the Supreme Court had made their decision last month that had ultimately limited how race can be used in drawing congressional district maps. And if this map had been allowed to go forward, it would have eliminated one of Alabama's 2 majority-minority districts, and also it would have put Republicans at an advantage in potentially flipping one of those districts as well in those midterm elections this fall, guys.
Megan, also, we do want to ask you before we let you go about the Justice Department's case against former FBI Director James Comey. This is where prosecutors are accusing him of threatening the president by posting this picture. It's on your screen right now. It's to Instagram. It's seashells, spelling at 8647. We got an update on the timeline for this trial. What do we know?
Yeah, so a judge delayed this trial now. Now it's set to start on October 21st. Now, it comes after Comey's team had requested more time. The trial was originally supposed to kick off in July. Now, Comey's team is planning to file motions to dismiss the case, arguing that the case is vindictive and selective prosecution. Now, if the judge ultimately rules against those motions and allows that case to move forward, then Comey will ultimately appear at a federal courthouse in North Carolina at the end of September for an arraignment. Now, it all comes down to this social media post, 8647, where 86 is a term that's commonly used in restaurants, for example, to mean that they're out of something or that something should be taken off the menu, and President Trump is the 47th president, guys.
All right, Megan Leibowitz, thanks so much.
President Trump is set to hold a cabinet meeting today at the White House, and at the top of the agenda, the ongoing negotiations to end the Iran war. Iran accused the United States yesterday of a, quote, clear violation of the ceasefire after the U.S. launched what it called defensive strikes against Iranian targets along the Strait of Hormuz. Those strikes have now threatened to disrupt the talks to end this 3-month-long conflict. NBC News Washington correspondent Alice Barr has the latest.
Joe and Savannah, good morning. The war with Iran will be top of mind when President Trump gathers with his cabinet today under pressure to deliver a win and find an exit ramp as the war is growing increasingly unpopular with American voters in a series of recent polls. And this is a precarious moment for the ceasefire with Iran after the U.S. launched fresh strikes on Monday, prompting Iran to accuse the U.S. of a, quote, clear violation of the ceasefire. 2 U.S. officials said that the U.S. launched what one called very limited and very precise strikes in direct response to what they said was 24 hours of missile, drone, and small boat launches by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard near the Strait of Hormuz. The officials said no U.S. aircraft were hit, but that the drones and small boats could lay mines that would threaten American ships. The flare-up in violence came just as Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that a deal with Iran could be finalized within a couple of days, with with negotiations coming down to disagreement over the final words. Iran, though, has rejected that a deal is that close, and the Foreign Affairs Ministry said that Iran would leave no act of aggression unanswered and will not hesitate in defending the dignity of Iran and its people. So clearly a lot on the line as the president gathers with his cabinet today. Joe and Savannah.
All right, Alice, thank you. Now, the ongoing uncertainty over a peace deal that would reboot the flow of oil around the globe continues to weigh on the economy and on consumers.
A new survey by the Conference Board shows that the Consumer Confidence Index fell in May to 93.1, with many people expressing concern over inflation and the labor market. It's actually the first decline following 3 months of gain.
Here to discuss the report is Caleb Silver. He's Investopedia's editor-in-chief and the chief business editor of People Inc. Good to have you with us. So we know consumer confidence is down. This survey, though, also finding for folks who make more than $100,000 a year, it's actually up. So walk us through why it's down for some and up for others, right?
Yeah, it's a little symptom of what we call the K-shaped economy, where the top 10% or 25% are doing rather well, given the fact that stock prices are at all-time highs, asset prices are at all-time highs, and they're not that impacted by increases in food costs and gas prices like folks that don't earn as much. So if you put all that into account, it's the fact that it's just getting more and more unaffordable for people on a lower income as prices keep rising.
We were able to get some more detailed information than normal on spending habits. What did we learn?
Yeah, people are pulling back on discretionary spending, and that's what you would expect at times when prices rise. When you think about things like jet fuel prices, which are increasing the price for airline tickets throughout the summer, people are going to be pulling back on that. They may pull back on vacation spending in general. So discretionary spending is where you feel it first. Then you start to feel it in staples. And we've heard from the CEOs of Walmart and other stores that folks are just not making it to the end of the month, and basket sizes when they go to checkout are smaller because they can't afford as much.
So despite that, despite the fact that confidence is down, despite the uncertainty surrounding the war right now, the stock market just continues to perform well. Help us maybe understand this disconnect.
Yeah, they're moving in different directions because they measure different things. Consumer sentiment is, how do we feel about the economy? How do we feel about rising prices, about the labor market? Meanwhile, over in the stock market, investors are always looking into the future, and they see future profits, especially for the tech and semiconductor companies. We have stocks like Micron and NVIDIA rising 15, 20% over the past month. We've seen a huge surge in AI stocks and tech stocks leading the market again. They're the biggest stocks in the market, and as they go, so goes the stock market. It's not the same as the economy. This is about the future and about where the money and the profits are growing. The economy is how we really feel and what we're doing with our money on a day-to-day basis.
All right, Caleb Silver, good to have you with us. Thank you.
As always. Well, authorities in Washington state are investigating a deadly chemical tank rupture at a paper mill that has killed at least one person and left multiple unaccounted for. Officials say the nearly million-gallon tank ruptured Tuesday morning in Longview, about 45 miles northwest of Portland. Crews are continuing to search the site for the missing workers. 10 people, including a firefighter, were injured, some with chemical burns. Investigators are still working to determine what caused that rupture.
And in Southern California, some relief this morning. That evacuation order was finally lifted for thousands. They were forced from their homes because of an overheating chemical tank that threatened to explode. The Garden Grove police chief announced the news last night. About 16,000 people had been displaced for more than a week over fears that tank could explode, causing widespread damage. Officials say water and a crack in the tank helped bring the situation under control.
Well, cleanup efforts continued this morning in the south after a round of severe weather brought widespread damage. A tornado tore through parts of Alabama late Monday night. It was part of a system of those powerful storms that brought heavy rain and flash flooding. We will have today's forecast in just a moment from our friend Al Roker. But first, NBC News national correspondent Aaron Gilchrist has more on the southern storms.
Oh, my gosh.
Unrelenting severe weather once again unloading on the south. From an apparent waterspout ripping through a Florida beach,
It's coming right at us.
to this ominous funnel cloud over Alabama, where at least 3 reported tornadoes touched down. The twisters bringing down trees and blocking roads, homes completely destroyed. One even tearing the roof off a local TV station while a meteorologist continued live on air.
A tornado has just gone through the station here at WDHN.
Security footage appears to show one person trying to leave the building when suddenly the glass begins to shake and is sucked out by the passing twister. Dangerous flooding in Texas, stranding drivers, people jumping in to push this stuck car.
Just be advised, the car is going towards the creek. We got an infant in the car.
Frightening moments as first responders rushed to this vehicle trapped in a swollen creek, a baby inside.
Yeah, give me the baby.
Cover him.
And in Georgia, days of rain saturating the ground under this tree until it collapsed into a neighboring house.
It sounded more like an explosion. And we came upstairs to see what was going on to the tree in the house.
The cleanup continues as the region braces for more storms.
Many parts of the South expecting these rainstorms and potentially thunderstorms or more severe weather to continue for at least several more days this week. Back to you.
All right, Aaron, thank you.
So what can you expect across the country as you step outside today? It's time for your morning news now. Weather.
Al Roker has the details for us, actually from the Today Cafe at Universal Orlando. Hey, Al.
Good morning from beautiful Universal Studios here in Florida. Hopefully where you are, you've got great weather. If you don't, it's going to be hanging around for a while, unfortunately. Take a look. We've got this atmospheric roadblock right now. So low pressure down through the south, a big high around the U.S.-Canadian border, then another low over Canada. So through the weekend, this stalled pattern sets up. So New England, you're cool with rounds of showers. The northern plains, summer-like temperatures. California, you're going to have this chilly late-season storm system, and more rain continues in the south with a flooding threat. So for today, you can see already we've got the risk of flash flood warnings down through southern Texas. We've got flash flood watches and warnings up through the Mississippi and Ohio River valleys and down through the Gulf. This afternoon, we've got a risk for 9 million people. We're looking at wind gusts, hail, tornado risk low. That's the good news, but around the Delmarva Peninsula, it's going to be a problem. More showers and thunderstorms soaking the south today. That moves on into tonight and tomorrow. We're looking for more heavy showers and thunderstorms there. When all is said and done, especially through the lower Gulf, we're talking about rainfall rates 2 to 3 inches of rain per hour. That is going to be a real mess. And temperature-wise, we've got cooler weather through the southern California into the southwest. We've got plenty of heat from the northern plains into New England. Then we move into tomorrow, New York, 78 degrees, nice and warm. Sioux Falls, 90. Look for temperatures in the mid-80s for Vegas, which is cooler than average. And then as we move into the weekend, look at that heat. Bismarck, temperatures in the 90s. Minneapolis, upper 80s to low 90s. Chicago, you'll be in the low to mid 80s. And then this weekend, New England, Boston, you're going to be in the mid 60s. Look for nice, perfect conditions in Washington with temperatures in the mid 70s. Nashville, you'll see temperatures in the low 80s. And that's what's going on with your weather. From Universal Studios, Florida, I'm Al Roker. You have a great day, guys.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.